They're like, Alicia, you've given me strength. You've given me that hope. So often my suicide is something very, very special. There's something in there for everyone. And I would say this entire process of writing Orphaned by Suicide has actually helped me therapeutically and helped me heal in ways that I don't think, or I thought I healed. But
Okay. Hi, everyone. We'd like you to meet Alicia Sewdass Ramdharee. She's the author of the memoir Orphaned by Suicide, which is an incredibly moving account of her own journey of loss and recovery. Beyond her writing, Alicia is doing some vital work in the mental health space as a speaker and as a founder of Suicide Awareness Support Group. We're really happy to have her here today to chat about her book and her life story. So thank you for coming today. So firstly, Alicia, we would really love to know about you. As an author, is there anything that you'd like to tell us about yourself?
so it's a lot about me. Well, apart from being an author, I love being adventurous. I love traveling, a big foodie. I do crochet, and my family time at home means a lot to me, especially with my husband and my two Pekingese girls, and very fond of animals. Yeah, I think that's me in a nutshell. I don't know. It's sometimes very hard to explain about yourself. It's one of the hardest questions to answer, I guess.
Yeah, completely understandable. Could you maybe tell us a bit about the book that you wrote, Orphaned by Suicide? Is there anything that you would like to tell the world about it?
Okay, so Orphaned by Suicide is my life story. It's about a 12-year-old, which is myself, that experienced grief at a very, very young age. I lost my entire family to a murder-suicide, and life since then has just been a roller coaster. I mean, no 12-year-old expects to just mature that quickly and start their life, so yeah, the book takes you through the tragedy, after the tragedy, becoming a teenager, going through all those emotions. I mean, you're a teenager and you're going through this whole roller coaster of hormones at that time. You're still trying to find yourself or get to know your body well. And then you have to deal with the tragedy and the grief and living with family. And at the same time, finding your part in this world. And then I speak about young adulthood. I was suicidal myself. And I speak about those dark moments being alone. I think that was one of the hardest times for me, being alone with myself. And then my love life with my high school sweetheart.
That's so sweet.
And my spiritual life, which I'm certain pulled me through to where I am today.
I love that. So this is a very brave piece of writing, I'd like to say. That's what I feel. And already from looking at the cover and everything, even the little bio and synopsis, I think it's a very brave piece of work. So I admire that. What finally made you brave enough to write about this, to write such a story?
So this wasn't actually supposed to be a book. This was more of a venting piece. I think I probably started writing on a piece of paper before I started working. Someone told me, whenever you feel this anger, because I was very frustrated and, holding these emotions inside. So to release these emotions, someone told me, write letters, write something just to get it out there. And it started off as that. And then when I started working in 2006, I started on Word and started typing everything out. And then at some point, I allowed one of my colleagues to read, I think it must have been like a chapter, maybe a few pages of what I've written. And they told me, why don't you turn it into a book? And I thought to myself, oh, turn this into a book, like who's going to want to read it? And she's like, no, your story, knowing you, and now knowing your story, your strength, you need to tell the world what you've been through and how you got through it. You will be able to help someone. And I thought to myself, okay, whenever I see somebody, I share my story, it inspires them, it gives them some sort of hope, strength. So I thought, okay, let me go ahead. So that's when I started writing down, like I started first with the main story, the tragedy, and then kind of tried to build up. But I only wrote whenever I felt frustrated, because I think that's where the pure emotions came out. It was a very vulgar and raw book. I had to tone it down because it was worse than what it was a lot of swearing in there. But and that's how I started writing. I started, I think, in 2006, just jotting down pieces. And then I stopped for a while because you hit that writer's block. Then I picked up again. And then in 2020, I resigned from my job. It was a very toxic work environment and I could not handle it anymore. And I thought, let me just focus on getting this out there because I think this is now my peak and I need to get it out there. It's been sitting a bit too long. And that's where Orphaned by Suicide started.
I love that explanation. So you sort of wrote when your emotions were at their highest. So you got the raw and authentic version.
Yeah.
So I've been looking at the cover of your book. Okay. To me, it's a very beautiful illustration. It's simple, but it's very tragic, and it has a glimpse of something. Like I'm curious when I look at it. To me, it captures the essence of the story. Okay. So how did you decide to come up with that specific sketch for that cover?
Okay, the cover, my publisher, Inspired Publishing, they actually designed it. There were two covers that they designed. One was more of like evening sunset cover, and then there was this. And when I looked at it, I'm like, okay, this shows me that 12-year-old girl that had to just leave everything behind and walk forward. And the little red on it is obviously blood stains, which represents, the blood stains from the tragedy that day on 11 December 1999. So that drew me to, when I saw that cover, I was drawn to that. So that's how the cover came about.
I see. Okay. So I want to talk about the emotions now that your book might bring out of someone. So certainly it already from a first glance, it brings out emotions. Just from the title.
Yeah,
I think just that title is already enough for someone to feel emotion. But I think navigating through the book also brings, it exponentially increases, you might say. So I want to talk about what emotions might someone feel when they maybe navigate through this book, and could you speak a little bit about what they might feel when they read through it?
Sure. They're going to feel a lot of emotions. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be laughter. It's going to be sadness. Mentally, it is going to work on you. So if they've had any traumas, previous traumas or tragedies recently, or even grieving someone, it's going to bring up all those emotions because that's what the book is. So when the reader is reading this book, I would say keep a box of tissues on the side because you are going to cry. Have something there to cuddle you, your favorite cup of tea or coffee, and just be ready for what you're about to read. The emotional bits are very deep. It is raw. It's going to make you cry. The laughter is there, so you're going to laugh loud. I had a reader that read it recently, and her brother was sitting in the other room, and he's like, he can hear his sister just laughing at certain points, and then the next thing, she's bawling her eyes out. And I said, yeah, well, that's Orphaned by Suicide. Yeah. That's what you're going to go through. You're going to feel my pain. You're going to feel that hurt, but you're also going to feel that laughter and that upliftment that I went through.
So there's a sort of roller coaster of emotions. That's
you're going to feel everything.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you released this book back in 2021. Mm-hmm. So looking back now, how has your perspective changed on this story since it's been out? So is there anything that you have realized has changed after people have been reading it? Maybe people's feedback to you. Has there anything that's changed from what you thought people will receive? That makes sense. So the ideas that people will take out of it and the feedback that you'll get back. Has your perspective changed?
Well, it hasn't changed. You know, when at first, when I did write the book, I thought, oh gosh, it's such a sensitive topic. Nobody comes up to you and openly speaks about suicide or a murder in the family or their trauma. So I did think, maybe it's not going to sell. It's going to hit a lot of nerves. It's going to be negative. But then I've also trained myself to think more positive of things. I'm like, but what if this helps somebody that's suicidal or someone that's lost someone to suicide? And I think that perspective of helping, giving strength, hope, and allowing people to start talking about their trauma, about family secrets, suicide, especially, suicidal thoughts. This book is still my baby. It's still everything that I believed it will do and would do. So it's still the same. And my feedback with the reviews that come in are always so heartwarming. And the things that some of my readers say, really, it makes me emotional because it's either changed perspective of, I have to rethink my will because I don't think the people that I left responsible for my kids, the guardians, are the right people. The book has done that. The book has also stopped people from going ahead with a suicide attempt. It's just given so much of hope and strength. People that are going through the deepest, darkest moments that have read it, but they're like, Alicia, you've given me strength. You've given me that hope that I needed. So Orphaned by Suicide is something very, very special. There's something in there for everyone. You just need to take out what relates to you and hold on to that. If you need strength, then that whole book is for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think that people who are suffering, maybe experiencing really bad, dark emotions and things like that, sometimes they just feel like they need someone else's story to boost them.
Yes.
Maybe someone else's story so that they can feel relatable. And so I think that this does that very well.
It does.
And so maybe it's a heroic book.
Yeah, I would say.
So memoirs are very personal,
yeah.
Right? So did you find putting everything on paper exhausting, or did you find it cathartic? So did you find it relieving? Did it actually help you? when you put it down on paper?
I think a mixture.
Okay.
Exhausting, but not in a bad way. Exhausting that I had to constantly read it over and over and over for the editing purpose. That was exhausting because both mentally and emotionally, because I had to constantly relive everything over and over until the editing process was done. But at the same time, it was therapeutic. At some point of my writing, I had to stop. It did give me an emotional breakdown. I had to dig into folders. Your brain is so clever. It makes you think of things, and then there's also things that it stores away and you cannot remember. And then by writing this book, there's so many things that surfaced and resurfaced, and I was like, did I really go through this? Oh my gosh, I forgot about this. Yeah. And it became emotional, and I couldn't handle it. I had to seek counseling because, there were things that resurfaced that I blocked off. I think, that younger me, it was so bad that Alicia decided, okay, you know what? You can't deal with this. Just block it off. And then now, what was I, like 31, 32 years old, writing this book, dealing with it as that adult. You're like, but how did this child go through this? That child was me. It sunk in. What did you really go through, Alicia? That question arises. And so I would say this entire process of writing Orphaned by Suicide has actually helped me therapeutically and helped me heal in ways that I didn't think, or I thought I healed. But writing this piece, it's truthful, it's honest, it's everything. There's whatever I did in my life, it is in there. So I don't sugarcoat anything. So everything there is honest and it's me.
Okay. That's a very, very good response. I think that you're trying to say that you were surprised maybe that you actually navigated through those emotions and actually handled all of them as a child. You were strong enough to take on those things that a child shouldn't actually need to deal with.
Because a 12-year-old is still, she's playing with her toys. Yes. Or, okay, them days, I know now it's more technology based, but you're still doing things that a child do. And to deal with this load of emotions, and then, okay, where am I going to be placed? Who am I going to stay with? What's my next move? I even started high school the following year. It was like all these changes, and it happened like, it was a real roller coaster of a life from the age of 12. Mm-hmm.
So when you speaking out to groups, what is one thing that people usually tell you that they took away from your book? Is there maybe some commonality with the feedback that people give?
I would think some motivation and inspiration and strength, because I don't want to be placed on this pedestal where, like, oh, Alicia, you are like, you are the strength. No, like, yes, I went through it as an adult, as a child adult, but each person has their own strength. So if they take away strength, then, like, I don't know how to word this. Like, build yourself, like, find your strength. Use my strength as a helping hand to find your own strength. Because what I went through was something that I could handle. What you went through could have been worse or more, right? And that's the thing with trauma, is that you can't say my trauma was greater than yours. So use my strength as a helping hand. So I think that's what people take away, is that the strength that this girl, this child had from the age of 12. And it's a motivation or more of an inspiration for them, whatever they are going through in their life, use this as a tool. Okay, Alicia went through this. I can go head on with my problems and face them head on. And, I think the strength from.
Yeah, so I think on that note, we're speaking about people with separate stories, different stories. Lots of people go through very rough patches and dark times. What would you say to someone who has a story like yours, but is too afraid to share it? Because I think what you did was admirable, sharing the story.
Yeah.
But I think many are afraid to share their stories. What would you say to them?
Be brave. No one's told me to wear your big girl panties and just face life. I had to learn that myself. So be brave, own your story. It's something to tell. Everyone's story has to be told because it carries meaning. It carries purpose, and your story might help another person out there. And I say that because my motto in life, especially for orphaned by suicide, or when I speak at functions and stuff, is even if I save just one life, that's more than enough for me. And orphaned by suicide has not only saved one life, it saved many. The story, my story, has saved many. So if you are thinking of writing something about your story, go ahead and do it. Because even one person, it's more than enough. But the ripple effect is what matters. So write it. Don't be afraid. Go out there, write it.
I think you've inspired me to write now. You'll be expecting a book from me very soon. I think also from my side, I think anyone, whether they have good stories, bad stories, any story is still a story.
Yes.
And it can still hold a lot of value.
Yeah, it does. So, there's no, no one's going to read it. It's someone out there is going to read it. Your story needs to be told. It needs to be out there.
Absolutely. So I came across a brilliant message on the blurb of your book, right? So that message was, it's okay to not be okay. Okay. Now this is, it was a very grabbing quote to me. I want you to please explain what that means to you and why you wrote it on the blurb of your book. And if you can just say a little bit about what it truly means.
Okay, that saying, it's okay to not be okay. We all wear masks. I don't know how you guys are feeling today, but you're here with smiles on your faces. But deep down, you're probably going through something. But you don't want to show us that you're not feeling okay, or something's really hurting you. So it's okay to not be okay. Show me what you're really feeling. Drop that mask. Because growing up, I could not show my feelings to an adult. The adults around me always said, oh, what you're putting up in that, it's show. I couldn't grieve. I couldn't cry. The only time I grieved and I cried was when I went to sleep. My pillow was the only thing that I had. So everyone just expects you to be okay. And they tell you, you know what? Just grow up. Oh,
get over it.
Get over it. Yes, get over it.
Yes.
And then you're like, okay, and you put on this face and you just go. I mean, there's days I went to school and I just had enough. I really had enough. But there was a time in my life where I had to drop that mask and not be okay. I had to show people around me I am not okay. And that not okay shows people, okay, we need to be with this person, we need to help them, we need to give them advice or show them a path so that they can walk through this, whatever they are dealing with. So yeah, it's okay to not be okay. It shouldn't be something that's pushed aside and yeah.
Okay, so moving back to your book now, I wanted you to just tell me, was there a specific moment in the book that was maybe hardest to put into words? Was there a specific chapter or moment that you can tell us about? Without revealing too much of it, of course they need to read your book.
I think the part that was hardest was building the story around the tragedy. I honestly thought that writing about the tragedy was the worst because that's what I put down first. But after I started building, I realized that it was not the tragedy that was the worst. So I think the chapters writing about my life from the age of 12, which is majority of the book, those were the hardest because I had to come to terms with it. Because in my head, I came through terms with the deaths of my parents and my siblings. But everything else that I dealt with, I didn't deal with. It was multiple traumas. So you have this major trauma, but on the side, you've had multiple traumas.
Yeah.
So here you think, oh no, I dealt with the deaths and losing 4 family members. But what about everything else? So that's why, like in the previous question, I said, I broke down. I had an emotional breakdown because I had to finally face those multiple traumas and nitpick them and deal with them because I did not deal.
Okay. So if there's anything that you learned about, I was going to word it like from writing the book, if there's anything that you learned about the tragic moment, but also now that you speak about other traumas as well that you had to deal with, you can include any of them. If you've learned anything from all of this, or you can choose if you want to speak about that tragedy, the main tragedy. What's the most important lesson that you've learned, or something that you can maybe give to someone else?
Like, never be afraid to be alone. I think that's a fear that we all have, is like being alone. We always want to be with a lot of people and be accepted into this tribe and follow the herd. They go in this direction and that direction. You want to be with the crowd. No, there's no need for that. And that's what I've learned. Be yourself. They don't accept you, it's fine. You come from a toxic family, let them go. It's fine. Go your own route. And I'm glad that I made the decisions that I made in this lifetime. I do not regret any of my decisions that I've made. When you read the book, you will see why I did what I did. But I don't have any regrets.
So sometimes I think it's hard to leave someone
Yes.
behind, but in that route, maybe you end up finding someone else that's going to be there for
Yes.
you, and you realize without regret more
Yes.
often that it's actually helped you
Yeah.
to let someone go. So yeah, I think it's that brave decision to let someone go and find someone else.
Yeah, you shouldn't be afraid. I think being alone is one of the strongest moments in time. Like, it's a really powerful thing to have as an individual.
So the next question is about you, and it remains a simple but profound question. What is your ultimate dream in life?
I don't think I have one. I've always been this person that set goals. I know everyone sets these New Year's resolutions and they're gonna tick this off their checklist. I've never been that person. I've always been this person that set goals. Okay, this year I want to achieve 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's always been like that. But the past few years, I've just been living life as I should live. And I know some people will say, no, but you need to know where you're going and where you want to be. I think now I'm just in a space where I'm just going to allow the universe to take me where I need to be and let that work in my favor. So I did have dreams. I had big dreams, but it's not that they are too far-fetched. I know I'll get there, but I'm just going to enjoy the ride to wherever it is. And that's the dream, living this dream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And lastly, we want to know from all of us, why should someone pick up your book and read it? Why is this such an important book for any reader out there, whether they're at a happy point in their lives or they're going through something? Why is it such an important book for anyone to read?
So Orphaned by Suicide, I'm not saying this just because I'm the author and I wrote it, but Orphaned by Suicide is a special book. It makes you, when you start reading it, if you've heard my voice, you will read it in my voice. You will feel that I am by your side and walking you through whatever I've been through in the book. And it gives you a different perspective of life. Whether you've been through trauma, lost a loved one, you're grieving, still trying to find yourself or your purpose, wanting to know what's out there, how do orphans feel, what's it like to lose a family member. I think Orphaned by Suicide has touched almost everything. And when you read it, it's going to give you a holistic view of life. So it's worth the read, and I think everyone will enjoy it. It's a good read.
Thank you so much. So what we want to do next is we want to play some fun games. So